It's a DACCCAST. It's a DACCCAST. It's a DACCCAST. DACCCAST. Cause I said it's a DACCCAST. It's a DACCCAST. It's a DACCCAST. 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 DACCCAST.
You're listening to DACCCAST, produced by students of Danville Area Community College.
Hey, welcome back to DACCCAST. We're back with an all-new season with brand new hosts. I'm Erin Anderson.
And I'm Landon Frazier. Our mission with DACCCAST is to create a platform that is made for students and created by students. We want all of you on campus to become more familiar with the faces you see every day here at DAC.
With that being said, we are so excited to bring you today's episode.
We are here today with Nick Catlett. Nick has worked several jobs here at DAC, and he might be a familiar face to all of you.
But first, we're going to get to know a little bit about Nick. So, Nick, would you mind introducing yourself to us and then tell us what your role is here at DAC?
Sure, yeah. So, as they said, Nick Catlett. I'm the Director of Workforce and Recruitment here on campus. So, kind of a general term, but what we're trying to do, I'm over the Career Center here on campus. That's one of my departments underneath me. And we work closely with the American Job Center, and that's a downtown location, a DACC building though. But between downtown and here on campus, we're just trying to help our students in the community, anything workforce related, job preparedness, job search, connecting them with opportunities. For example, today we've got Flex and Gate here on campus, so bringing hiring events, doing job fairs is mainly what we focus on in that area, along with also helping students who are undecided about what career they want to pursue, what major they want to pursue, and with different assessments and tools and things, helping them make that decision because as you guys know, it's very important. So we'd love to have students here. We'd love for you to spend your whole career here, but obviously we know that's not realistic. So helping you figure out what you want to do and get you on to the next step. Recruitment's also another department underneath me, and I think you've had the pleasure of meeting Alexis Simmons, our new recruiter, and hopefully most of our student body has maybe had an opportunity to meet with her. She's doing a fantastic job, came to us from the U of I as a graduate, so very excited to have Alexis on board. And then also, the last department is our Veterans Center here on campus. So been doing that for a long time. We've got over 100 veterans here on campus that are using education benefits, so we're trying to help them navigate that. Those benefits could come through the state, the federal government, but we have a wonderful Veterans Lounge here on campus, so if you're a student veteran, please come see me, please come see our lounge. We've got TVs, gaming, computers, refreshments, all kinds of good stuff. So I guess I got my hand in a little bit of everything.
Well, it's probably busy days for you, but what does a normal day look like for you here at DAC?
Yeah, well, I like to show up really early. Not really. I'm kind of notorious for an 8:15 guy. But really, yeah, every day is different. But just checking in with the different departments, seeing what we have going on that day, between what we have going on in the Career Center and with Alexis. Chances are that week we've got some kind of event going on. But what I really enjoy most is interaction with students. So, anytime I get an email, phone call, or student pop in, that's what I really enjoy the most about my day.
You've held several positions here at DAC, and you talked about kind of the different aspects of your job and the departments, but you've held several departments here at DAC.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about some of them?
Yeah, so the downtown area that I mentioned that's now referred to as the American Job Center, one of their partners is what's called Vermilion County Works now, and when I was there, I started here at DAC in 2009. It was called the Job Training Partnership. So a lot of different terms, but that's where I started. So I started downtown. Worked there for 3 years. Then I came on campus to work in the financial aid office, and that's when I started working with veterans. I think another 3 years in the financial aid office, and then I became our recruiter. So I did that for another couple years, and then that's when we created the Career and Veterans Center, and that was my last position before this current one. So it's been a slow and steady climb, but I've got my experience in a lot of different areas. So I not an expert, I would say, in any of them, but I definitely enjoy being a part of the campus for sure.
Have you had one that you've enjoyed more than others, or are they all different? Or
Like I mentioned with the last one, just I like working with students. That's the best part. I'm obviously probably referred to as a sociable guy, so just sitting around and talking with students and helping them figure out their problems. My first position was a grant-funded position that had money to help dislocated workers and low-income individuals be able to go back to school. We could pay for school, we could pay for transportation, we could pay for childcare. So when you have someone that had been laid off from their job and they weren't sure how they were going to make ends meet, and then seeing them complete their educational journey, and not to say they did all the work, I just processed the paperwork, but seeing that and seeing them return back to something similar of a life that they had before that experience happened to them was probably the most rewarding, and it was my first, so I'll probably say that one.
How would you say that all of these positions have made you a better employee as a whole?
Well, I think that it's kind of a microcosm of the community college, kind of where we're like a jack of all trades, right? We have students that are, transferring to the U of I for engineering, all the way, they might spend 2 years here, or nursing students might spend 3 years here, to someone that's doing our CDL program that might only be on campus for 6 weeks, and then they're out getting a job. So I think that's kind of how I look at myself, as having that little bit of knowledge, because no matter what a student may come to me for, one thing I hate to do is say, well, that's not what I do, and send you somewhere else. I don't also like to tell them wrong either, but I feel like I can handle most of the issues that come about. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that, yeah.
what do you think is the most impactful position that you've had here on the lives of your students?
Like I mentioned, probably that first one. We're working with financial aid, because, my first position, they were going through a life tragedy that, they probably couldn't have avoided, and, helping them get back on their feet. But helping students navigate the financial aid process can also be difficult. So I found that very rewarding and impactful on that. And again, the veterans benefits is what I've been in charge of for probably the longest now, eight years. It's kind of followed me when I started in financial aid, I started doing that. It followed me with recruitment into the Career Center, and that's how we made the Career and Veterans Center. But I enjoy seeing that the most, because some of these veterans, they might have got out of the service 30 plus years ago, and they didn't even know they had education benefits available, or they're recently out and they have no idea, because when they're exiting, they're being told a million different things. So, helping them, guiding them through that process. I don't know, I guess, all of it, recruitment too, because bringing people here, just little, I think that's the part that people, don't focus on enough. It's just doing the little things day to day with students, keeping in contact, keep guiding them through the process, and then eventually that big impactful thing is graduation. So I guess maybe not one position. The most impactful thing is when we help out at graduation, and you see fresh-faced young kids that are 19, 20 transferring on. You might see a grandparent that finally went back to school just to get her degree because she wanted to show her grandkids that to stick to your goals or something like that. Just hearing those individual stories, I'd say really graduation is what is most impactful, for sure.
Absolutely. Kind of transitioning over to where you're from. So where are you originally from, and then why did you choose to return to DAC after college?
Sure, yeah. So grew up in Catlett, went to what was Catlett High School then, that's now Salt Fork. Came out to DAC for 2 years. My graduating class had 40, 45 kids. Catlett High School wasn't very big. DAC seemed huge to me. I was what's now dual credit, College Express, those kind of things. We did, but it was called VOTEC then, and we were the last year of VOTEC. So like some high school kids get to already come out to campus and get comfortable. I was like, what are all these buildings and floors? And so DAC seemed really, really big to me. I thought it was a great transition. I did 2 years here and then transferred to Charleston. and went to Eastern Illinois University for 2 years. Really enjoyed that. And then I was kind of thinking I was going to get a summer to, celebrate my graduation and those kind of things. And I got notified of an opportunity and actually started at JTP on June 1st. So I graduated, I don't know, May 14th, 15th, something like that. And 2 weeks later, I was starting my career. So, I didn't quite get to enjoy the summer-long celebration that I had planned, but I'm glad I did. Everything happens for a reason, and, I'm here today.
So what did you major in when you went to Eastern?
Yeah, so it was kind of, I believe, new. At least I hadn't heard too much of it, but now it's pretty common. They refer to them as 2+2 programs. So my 2 years here at DAC, I actually got my associates in criminal justice. I thought I wanted to be a cop, and then I realized that I would not arrest anybody or ever give a ticket because I just couldn't do that. So I respect our law enforcement, but I was like, I probably wouldn't be the best one for this job. But anyways, so I took a few extra classes, but when I went to Eastern, I ended up majoring in sociology, and that's what I got my bachelor's degree in. Well, let me add one thing. My roommate was a chemistry major, and I got to spend a lot more time playing video games than he did.
Did you ever think that you would be back here where you are now professionally or just personally?
It was a completely, when I talk to students now, it was a completely different climate. When I graduated in 2009, our country was going through a recession. God, I sound so old talking like this. But it wasn't that long ago, okay? But in 2009, and places were shutting down, people were laying off. I was so thankful to have an opportunity to get an interview. I mean, really just talking to other students while I was down at Eastern, it was really difficult what students were going to do, and I was just so thankful that I had an opportunity. I didn't really have a plan per se. I mean, if something had popped up in Charleston, I may have ended up there, but it wasn't exactly what I'd planned on doing. But I knew that I was probably always going to be around this area, and I'm glad I came back here, and I've used that. When I've interviewed for different positions here on campus, I've grown up here my whole life. We have our challenges, obviously, in our district, but I think it's worth fighting for, and there's a lot of good people here on campus that are doing that and doing a lot more than myself, for sure.
Did you have any mentors along the way that helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Wow, thank you. Just start off, I had a really good family growing up, very thankful for that. I definitely had a lot of opportunities that I know, especially with my work now, that I realize that a lot of students don't get. So I think that's the first thing, good start to my life there. And then here on campus, boy, a lot. If you guys got enough time. Brian Hinsgen was my first boss, and now he's my boss currently, so we've kind of come full circle there. He's been really impactful. When I came to campus, Janet Ngargiola, who after 35 years is retiring in December from financial aid, was a wonderful boss to me when I came to campus. Very knowledgeable, personable, great with students. So kind of, and the same with Brian and the people I'll mention after this. They expect results, they want to see results, and they know that starts just with working one-on-one with the students and not just looking at it as a number, taking each student individually. And then Stacy Eman, which is our Vice President of Student Services now, have all been wonderful to me, and Janet's going to be retiring, so she said I have to buy her a bottle of wine if I call her with a work question, which for the value she adds, I don't think it has to be a very expensive bottle, but I know I can call on her and Stacy and Brian at any moment, but and I can't mention everybody, but there's a lot of good people that work here on campus, so I feel fortunate to be here for sure.
We've had most of the people we've interviewed have said that their connections and their relationships they've created here at DAC is what's kept them here. Is that the case with you as well?
Yeah, and it's what I've told with Alexis, as my first official hire, because the departments I've taken over, there's already been people there, so Alexis was my first fresh one, but I just let her know it's a family here. Monday night, we had the men's basketball opener, and I do the stats there. I brought my 4-year-old son, who's a 4-year-old boy for sure, coming off a weekend of who knows how much sugar intake. But, when I was doing the stats, Stacy, the vice president of student services, is, walking him around and getting him concession stand and stuff like that. I mean, that's just one example, and not necessarily, DAC or work related. Our athletics are fun time, but I know I can do that, and they know him because Stacy's asked me hundreds of questions about him and buys him treats all the time and those kind of things, and so does everybody else. So yeah, we're not on. What makes us close here on campus is that we know we can call on each other for life related things as well. So yeah, definitely a family atmosphere.
What do you like to do in your free time?
I don't have any free time because I'm here 90 hours a week. No, I'm just my coworkers that will watch this will enjoy these little tidbits of me saying I work a lot. When I'm here, I give 100%. No, I'm just kidding. So free time, I enjoy. Like I mentioned, I got a 4-year-old, so he takes up most of my free time. But he's getting to that fun age that we can go out and do things together. So I like to play a lot of golf. I was very competitive growing up. I've since not kept myself in very good shape, but you don't have to for golf, and that's the wonderful thing. Whether it's just me and him bike riding, going to the park, he's obsessed with bottle flipping right now, so that sound is just in my head all the time right now. He just wants to go to different places and bottle flip. Yeah, spending time with my son and playing golf is probably where you'll find me outside of here for sure.
Yeah, we got a lot of tips that you like golf.
Yeah.
So that's what most of our notes are about.
There's 2 really good days to work here as an employee at DAC. The athletic fundraiser in the summertime, it's a Friday, so that's a fun work day because we get to go out and play golf, but mainly fundraising for the athletic department, right? And then there's another fundraiser for the national basketball tournament in October, and that's on a Friday as well. So I very much look forward to those 2 days on my calendar for sure.
So you won the Big Fella Golf Tournament? We heard about that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a really fun weekend event. Including the night before. I mean, it's like a 3-day long event, and I've been trying to convince Brian to, this sounds fun. He talks about it all the time, and I'm like, I'd really like to be a part of this, and I got the call this year. I was pretty excited about it. And ended up winning it. So that kind of, I probably didn't make a lot of friends, but they said I could come back next year. So, yeah, we had a pretty good time. And my son loved the little trophy, so it's now in his room. And he refers to me as the big fella.
We've heard that you've traveled to Hawaii, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I went to Maui. Again, they have a lot of beautiful golf courses there.
That's all you did in Hawaii, just golf the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I got chastised for a little bit because they're like, are you not going to go to the beach? And I'm like, well, it's my first time here, and there's a lot of golf courses. So for the first time, yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was one afternoon that we did end up going to the beach, but yeah, other than that, no, I just played golf. And they have a lot of wonderful restaurants as well. So I did a lot of eating and maybe a few cocktails and golf. So
don't you know someone from there?
Yeah. So my dad and stepmom they spend the winter down there. So I'm getting a return trip this January. So although this weather's been, I guess it got cold recently, but it had been so warm, and I'm like, I'm ready for it to get crappy so I can get out of here.
I'm sure it will be by January.
By January.
It's definitely Illinois.
Yeah.
We hear that your son is a character, so we need to hear some funny stories about your son.
Geez, okay. I'm trying to think of ones that aren't too brutal. Well, just he is. He's He's all boy. I'm trying to think of some good ones. So, the first time, he goes to the daycare out here. So I pick him up from the daycare sometimes, and I'll bring him over because, like I mentioned, people here will be asking about him and showing him or giving him candy and those kind of things. So he has a couple older brothers, and we're not sure where this originated from, and he definitely doesn't know what it means. But we went down to my boss, and my boss had given him candy, not Stacy, but Brian. And Brian gave him the peace sign, peace out, dude. And he hit him with the sort of the peace sign, half of the peace sign. So that was an interesting, introduction into meeting my boss. That we had a pretty good laugh about that. Yeah. So. But yeah, he has never met a stranger. At the DAC game last night, he was screaming just as loud as the cheerleaders. He likes saying defense, but he was saying that when DAC wasn't on defense either. So yeah, he's vocally definitely a little bit ahead of his time. Mature-wise, definitely not, but his vocabulary is pretty sharp for a 4-year-old. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Tell us a little more about your family.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, my mom my dad and stepmom, they farm here in the community. My mom, I think she was close to 30 years. She retired from the unemployment office here in town. So again, worked her whole life here in the community. I have just one sister. She works for the Illinois Department of Corrections. I tease her. She's not a security guard, but or a corrections officer, I should say. But she works in the office there. Her and her husband live together. She had a daughter from a previous relationship who's in high school. She's a freshman this year, so my niece is a freshman. And then, of course, we spent enough time talking about Hendrix, my 4-year-old. So, yeah, same with family. They've stayed in the area as well. So we're all doing different things, but all a part of this community for sure.
That's awesome. What's something that people may not know about you?
May not know about me. Oh man. I don't even want to say it. I enjoy a good rom-com. I think people look at me like he's got to watch sports or Band of Brothers or that kind of stuff. But I'm just as happy sitting down watching Made in Manhattan or something like that. Yeah,
it's a good movie.
It's a I love it. So, but yeah, I guess that's probably a funny one. That I like a wide variety, whether it's books or TV shows or movies. I'm not afraid to sit down and watch anything. So,
what are some of your long and short term goals that you have for your field and career here?
Short term, just really trying to bring more students and community members here to campus. COVID. I know, it's like all we ever say for an excuse, but, obviously it's affected people's lives tremendously in many different ways and affected businesses as well. But, we had to go remote. That didn't work for a lot of people. I think in the future, it's definitely going to be an advantage now because everybody has forced to do some things remote-wise. But, when I first came to campus in 2012, at 8:50, 9:50, 10:50 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, these hallways were packed. This is a funny story, but going to Subway, if I looked up and it was 9:50 or 10 o'clock, I'd be like, let me wait a little bit because this line's going to be out of control. I mean, there was just people in the union, people in the library, just the common places, the quad, there was always people walking, and I definitely, I miss that. So in the short term wise for our community's health, for the college's health, and hopefully help out some businesses, get people in, get them doing the education, getting their skills, getting them out into the workforce to help our local area businesses, and also help the college in itself. We've got a lot of new and awesome things going on. I mean, the gaming studio, they've done a great remodel with their gym. We just bought the new Army Reserve building, Open Jacobs Hall. There's a lot of stuff going on here on campus and a lot of great things, and we just like more people to see it. Long term, just not get fired. I love it here. No, I'm actually I'm very very happy with where I'm at now. As I mentioned, Janet's leaving, but Stacy and Brian are still here. I've got great people above me, great colleagues. Working in student services. Lisa Rudolph in the testing center, and Shanae and Huerta in Trio, or Shanae Wright, sorry, and Stephanie Potts is over counseling, Timothy Morgan in missions and records, and I know I'm probably leaving somebody out, but just I work with a lot of great people, and the people that they have working for them. Really the only part about my day I don't enjoy is just actually getting up. And then once I'm up, I hate going to work. I still don't want to get out of bed, but I really love what I do. Staying in student service, long-term wise, just staying connected in student services. I know eventually Brian and Stacy will probably go someday. So, if I'm ever asked to do more, I'd be happy to do that. But in the long term, I want this place to be better than when you found it. So if that can happen, and we've been around for over 75 years now, so don't do anything to screw that up, right?
I guess that leads to my next question. So you've done lots of stuff here, but now, do you want to stay in the role that you're in now, or would you like to try out other stuff? Or
as of right now, only because it's so new, and there's specific goals that for recruitment and the Career and Veteran Center, and with our partnership downtown with the American Job Center, there's things I would like to see come to fruition. And then at that point, if and I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but if they, you usually don't get rid of things here on campus, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but, you always continue doing what you were doing. We're just going to give you a little bit more, and that would be fine. That would be fine for sure. But, I think it's just too early because, like I said, it's only been a few years now, but if they come to me and ask nice enough, I'll do it.
What's the main thing that you hope to accomplish in the lives of students here at DAC? We're hitting you with all the hard questions today.
Yeah, this is great. I guess I'll use the analogy of like officiating in sports, right? A good official is there, they do their job, but they're really not noticed, right? It's only noticed when they screw something up, really bad. So I think that's what I would like to be for students. I would like, whether it's getting them enrolled, getting them with their financial aid or their scholarships or whatever it's going to be to help them pay for this, answer any of their questions if they want to change a career or whatever comes up along the way. Be there to just keep giving that information, guiding them along, but really not try to be, get in their way at all. Just not be noticed. And at the end, if they appreciate everything you've done for them, great. But I hope I treat each student that way. And I feel like that's how I try to approach it, is just be there for them, support them, but not mess anything up for them. I want them to reach their educational goal, whether that's here for a short time or a long time. And any way I can do that, try to get them along the way.
Before we end, I wanted to ask a little bit more about what you do for veteran services. Like, how do you help out in that area?
Yeah, so when students come here and they're veterans, first thing we need to do is figure out what they're eligible for. So the state has programs for veterans and current military members as well. And so does the federal government. So the first thing we've got to try to decide is what you're eligible for, and then what best fits your situation. So each veteran student or current service member is going to be a little bit different. So first we got to figure that out, and then of course along with all the other things, what they're wanting to do, and that's why I think it's nice that we have it tied in with the Career Center. And my prior knowledge of financial aid is, for a veteran, I don't have to send them anywhere. Well, I don't register them. I I could. I don't trust myself because again, I don't want to screw them up. I want to help them without messing anything up. So once we've got them through the enrollment process, we help them fill out any application that they would for the veterans. And then all they really have to do on a semester basis is just let me know that they've gotten registered, which there's a form that they fill out with their advisor or faculty advisor. They select what benefit they may want to use that semester. They get that to me, and then I'm the one that communicates with the state or the federal government. This is what they're wanting to use. Either some benefits they pay us, some work different ways, but just again doing all that so the veteran can just continue to focus on their education. And then in the lounge, like I mentioned, all the kind of the fun perks, the TVs and all that kind of stuff. But the best part is, it's such a good resource, whether it's peer-to-peer, veteran to veteran, kind of talking about things that they're experiencing and where to go for help and those kind of things, or just, being right next door to me and popping in and asking questions and those kind of things. And then once they've graduated and, if they're transferring on, great. If not, then again, the Career Center kicks in, what's your resume looking like, what's your cover letter doing, where are we wanting to apply. So really, one-stop shop. I mean, there's really nothing that, besides them getting registered and taking the classes that they can't get from our office, so.
If someone would like to utilize this, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, call Kelly, not me. No, I've got to mention Kelly. Kelly McBride is the office specialist for the Career and Veterans Center, and she is wonderful. She does a lot of the day-to-day stuff with the Career Center, so I just had to plug her really quick. But no, contact me directly, ncatlett@dac.edu is my email. The beauty of phones, that's probably the easiest and quickest way. But also contact me directly on my office, not line. No extension or anything, 217-443-8864. And, whatever it is, I can help you with. If I can't handle it in my office, I'll get you connected to who can. So don't be afraid to come say hi. We got snacks.
Now we're going to play this little game that we end every interview with. It's called DAC Attack. We just ask you random questions and you have to answer as fast as you can.
Okay.
You want to start?
Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Calling or texting?
Calling.
Car or bike?
Oh, car. I wanted to sound cool like everybody, but I wouldn't.
Phone or tablet?
Phone.
Salad or sandwich?
Sandwich.
Night out, night in?
Oh, night out.
Early or late?
Late.
Animals or people?
People.
Play a sport or watch a sport?
Watch now.
And cookies or brownies?
Oh, dang. That might be the toughest one. Brownies.
Thank you so much, Nick.
No
we really
problem.
appreciate you coming in here for an interview with us today.
I enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been Aaron Anderson
And Landon Frazier for DACCAST. Stay classy, Jaguars.